Hello, hello. These are exciting times because I got my new motor in my Smurf, in my Wired Freedom. I wanted to take you guys with me on my first ride with a new motor. This is a steel motor, fully. I was told that the motor that was in my bike was nylon. I rode it for 10 minutes today just to get it home, but I didn't do any hill climbs or anything like that, so that's what we're gonna go do. And yes, it's nighttime, but hopefully you guys can still see. I just couldn't wait till, daytime to go try it, so that's what we're doing. All right, we are starting with 107 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are climbing pretty quickly, but I wouldn't say unusually quickly or anything like that. I'm at 129 Fahrenheit. Previously, I would have been 150, 160 by now, so there's an improvement. It's really, really great to see. The motor doesn't feel any different. It doesn't sound any different. It maybe pulls a little harder, but man, it's hard to tell. My old motor was certainly not running efficiently. I thought there might be a huge difference in terms of, the torque feeling. And there probably will be once it starts, heating up, but right now, not really feeling a difference or noticing a difference with that. But 130 is definitely reasonable for a 40-mile-an-hour burst there. So far, so good. I actually don't know where I'm going, so I think I'm just gonna go directly to the Hill of Doom. And again, you guys are gonna find out right alongside me. This is exciting. I was not sure about whether I should force this, video tonight where, this action camera is not good in low light. I figured you guys would want to be here with me as I go through this, even if it doesn't look beautiful like it does during the day. And if it overheats again, I definitely want to have that on tape too. It's 78 or 80 degrees out, so it's not the heat of the day, and this is a good way to just kind of test it without torturing it. But I do think where I noticed that increased punch, and again, I'm talking like it's very, very subtle, but I think where I noticed it is right off the line. If I pull down here, no, you know what? I think to me, this is accelerating harder than it used to. So that's great. That's all good news. There's no sound difference. I was reading that there might be a sound difference because of the steel reinforcements versus the nylon, but no, it's identical. There's nothing in it between the two motors in terms of sound. I think I'm ready to say it. I think the bike's a little faster with the new motor. But again, it's splitting hairs. It's certainly nothing like, it's not like they gave me a Scout or a Warrior motor, obviously. It's a different voltage anyway. Yeah, it feels like it hits off the line a bit harder. So we are at 165, which, I gotta say that's probably around where we would have been before. But again, I'm not as worried about 165. What I'm worried about is, does it hit 280, 300? That's going to be the big indicator. And by the way, if it does, I have no plan. Because as I've said, I love this bike. I would not want to sell this bike. But with a brand new motor, if it's still overheated, then I have no plan. I don't know what I would do. So it's a lot riding on this. Get it? Riding? Because I'm riding a bike? I don't know, y'all. I feel giddy to be back on this bike though. I missed it deeply. I think this is probably going to be a short video, which for me means probably 10 minutes. That's short for me because I'm not really ready to call this case like closed, case closed or anything like that. I'm not really ready to say that or do that. But a lot hinges on what happens tonight with it. That's the thing, is like this feels really important because It is really important. I mean, having the shop do the motor was $230. So, you know, I'm invested that much, and then the motor was $550 if I had just bought it from Wired Shop. So this is a big deal. You know, would have cost someone $750 to do what we just did. So obviously my hope is that this makes Smurf into my dream bike, you know. That's certainly what I hope for, what I want. But I'm gonna just kind of head that way towards the Hill of Doom, and I'll keep you posted if anything crazy happens. But otherwise, yeah, I would say the bike feels mildly faster. It's enough to notice it, like it feels fresh, I guess. Would be the way I would say it. It's kind of the difference between like a fresh bagel and one that's been sitting out for a day, where it's like it's the same, it tastes the same, but you can just tell the texture's different, and it's fresher, you know. It's kind of a weird metaphor, but it's what I'm going with. So I'll keep you updated if I notice anything else. We're about to hit 200 degrees for the first time here, 201. However, this was a hill that would, you know, push it to 240 before. So again, we're kind of 40 degrees behind where the old motor was, which is a good sign for sure. Because you'll see as we come down here, it's a pretty long hill, and it's reasonably steep. I mean, maybe between 5 and 10%, if I had to guess. But it's just a really long incline and then a really long decline. All right, folks, we're getting really close. We're about 5 minutes away, man. It's gonna be exciting. I swear, man, I do think this motor feels like it pulls harder. I'm noticing it more and more. Now we are at 226, so that's starting to get a little hotter than I would like. I've never driven a Wired Freedom without a motor short, so I don't know what's normal and what isn't. But I do know that the letters turn red and scary about 40 degrees from here, so given that I haven't hit this hill yet, that has me a little nervous, but I'd say we're still a good 20 to 30 degrees behind where the bike would have been typically at this point. All right, we are officially turning into the neighborhood that houses the Hill of Doom. So, I'm feeling nervous. Are you guys feeling nervous? Probably not, because you're not emotionally invested like I am, but let me tell you, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this bike. I really want it to do well, man. All right, what do you guys think I should do? Do you think I should just like floor it? Oh, I've been doing it. Do you think I should like pedal normally and go 15 up the hill? Do you think I should crawl up the hill at like 5 miles an hour, trying to use as little power as I can? It seems like every way I do it, there's comments that say, oh, you should have done it the other way, and then you wouldn't have overheated, which is bullshit, obviously. But I love you guys. I love you guys that support me, and some of the comments have been so nice. So I focus on that. But I'm nervous. As I said, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for the bike. I'm nervous for myself, because again, if this doesn't go well, I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan B at all. The new motor is the plan. And some of you may be thinking, like, it's just a bike and this dude's acting like his life is at stake. But if you knew what this bike has done for me and my mental health, you know, and if you knew how many hills are in Franklin, I think you'd understand. I think what I'm going to try to do is just take a medium approach. So I'm just going to keep it in pedal assist 7. I'm going to go to a really low gear. I'm just going to try to pedal up the hill, and we'll just see how that goes. We're cruising. I don't know why I always hit this at night. Maybe sometime I should try it during the day where it's a bit less dangerous, but here we go, guys. I'm like out of breath. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. All right. I'm gonna slow a little bit because that's the rule. It's a stop sign, and here we go. Nervous. Whoa. Okay, I'm pedaling. We're at 231, 233, 235, 237, 239, 10 miles an hour, 240. I'll give it a little throttle. 246, 248. 251, 253, 257, 258. And we're overheating. All right. I hope you guys can see these numbers. Fuck. Let me not fall over. All right. I'm sure you guys can see that. 291. Shit. 293. 294. It's a brand new motor, y'all. 294. We went from 215 to 295 in 30 seconds. Fuck. Look, we made it up the hill. That's an improvement from before. But I still almost shut off there. You know, the worst part about this is that I did start lower, but the delta was actually bigger, right? Before I would start at 245 and I'd end up at 306. So that's 61 degrees. This time I started at 215, I ended up at 295. I'm gonna do it all three ways that you guys have told me I should be doing it. And we'll see if one of the ways doesn't result in 300 degree motor temperatures. All right. Hill of Doom, run number 2, 239. All right, I'm pedaling and I'm throttling as hard as I can. We're at 248, 251, 253, 260, 266. There's the red letters. And I'm at the top of the hill at 275, 280. Let's see how high it goes. 291, 293, 294, 296. That's where we were last time. Okay, and that seems to be where it stops heating so much. 294 and dropping. God damn it. I'm upset. I don't know if y'all can tell. But let me go back down again. I'm gonna give it a really good chance to cool down, because that also means that the $250 in labor I just paid was wasted. Okay, folks, we're at 208, 210 now, and this is my last attempt. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cruise control at the lowest speed I can, just to keep the climb going. I'm cruise controlling at 5 miles an hour, so 790 watts to get up this part at 6 miles an hour. We're already up to 224, 228, 230, 235, 239. And again, we're pulling about between 500 and 1,000 watts, 255 already, 257, 258, 260, 262, 264. There's the red numbers, 266, 267, 271, 273. We're not even gonna make it up the hill doing this. Pulling 1,800 watts continuous, but this is a 1,500 watt continuous motor. 298, and we're gonna cut out. 307, 309. That's actually higher than I ever saw the last motor go. 314, 316, 318. I never saw it get that hot before. 320, 320. That was about half the hill. If it's available, I will grab a screen recording of the street view so you can see what this looks like during the day. It's steep, but this is about 70 meters worth of hill, and we covered about 35 of it before the bike shut off and it hit 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And I am squeezing the brakes for dear life so I don't tip over again, because the motor cutting out in the middle of a steep grade is a safety hazard. Luckily we have the walk mode. My Velotric Nomad 1 Plus would have climbed it at, you know, albeit at 6 miles an hour, but it would have climbed it. I hit hills like this all the time with that bike, which is a 750 watt motor. It's the thing that kind of drives me crazy about this walk mode is it's too fast. I don't want to walk 3.5 miles an hour. I want to walk 2 miles an hour. This is the real world consequence, y'all, is that you're left walking up a 15% grade with a 120 pound e-bike, and walk mode won't even stay on. Clearly you can see there's no fucking right way to do the hill. It overheats regardless, and actually the slower you go, the worse it is. So people that were like, oh, you're just pushing it too hard, there you go. Cruise control 5 miles an hour was the worst run of the bunch. I'm extremely disappointed. I'm frustrated, I'm disillusioned. You guys saw it. I tried the hill 3 different ways, none of them worked. And the first way was like the most common sense way to do it, right? It was just, I'm gonna pedal, I'm gonna use a little throttle as needed, and it couldn't do it, and it spiked 80 degrees in 45 seconds. You know, if anybody lives in the Nashville area that's watching and owns a Wired Freedom, or a Scout, or a Warrior, or just another high-powered e-bike, and you feel like you'd like to try the Hill of Doom, I would so cherish that feedback on how your bike does. I don't know what the future is here with Smurf, because I do need a bike that can climb a hill. You know, I live in a hilly part of the country. That's the bottom line. I had a bunch of comments in my last video that said, hey, I have a 2024 Freedom. The most I've ever seen it hits 230 degrees. I kill it on hills. You're going to be so relieved when you get that new motor in. I don't know, man. I'm trying not to be too melodramatic, but it feels bad. It feels bad. And it's such a perfect bike. Other than this, I guess this is where I'll end the video. I'm just gonna kind of ride home. I'll keep you guys updated, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for caring about this journey, and stay tuned for the next upload. Thank you so much, and like, subscribe, comment. Thanks. Yep, 0.0L. So there's no continuity between those two pins. Okay. Well, there you have it. Worth a try.